Hola a todos, bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Viajando por el Mundo. Esta semana, nuevo episodio, cuarto episodio de la serie ya. Y seguimos en Estados Unidos. Nos vamos esta semana hasta un estado con un riquísimo pasado español y una fuertísima presencia española. Nos vamos nada más y nada menos que hasta la ciudad de California, específicamente hasta la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Allí Devon Mirsky nos estará contando maravillas sobre su ciudad. Pero primero, durante los 20 primeros minutos, nos estará explicando en qué consiste su trabajo para la organización en la que ella tiene el honor de trabajar, PragerU, una organización que se dedica a hacer vídeos educativos. Nos estará contando en qué consiste su programa para estudiantes, PragerFORCE, cómo puedes formar tu parte de él y qué ventajas. El resto del tiempo, los otros 40 minutos de la entrevista, nos estará, pues como he dicho, contando cómo es California y cómo es su ciudad. Nos estará contando parte de la historia de este bellísimo estado. Nos estará dando recomendaciones sobre qué visitar, tanto en su estado como en la ciudad. Nos dará recomendaciones sobre si tenemos 7 o 15 días, qué lugares tenemos que visitar y qué lugares pues podemos pasar sin visitar. Y también nos descubrirá cuál es la gastronomía californiana. Nos contará también curiosidades sobre qué platos creemos que son de distintas partes del mundo, que son a lo mejor de países asiáticos, pero que en verdad son de allí del estado de California. Todo esto y mucho más a lo largo de toda esta entrevista. Así que ya os dejo, espero que la disfrutéis y aquí empieza. Hey, Devon Mirsky is the director of PragerFORCE, and we are waiting for her. And this is going to be a very exciting episode. Hello, Devon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks for inviting me. This is super fun.
Yes, it was super fun. I have been doing this for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and I enjoy this a lot. The past week, I don't know if you know it, but I made one of these interviews with Emily and Roach from Ohio. Yes, right?
Nice. Nice. Yeah, you've had some good people on so far.
Yes, and I am planning to continue to do it with more people, maybe with one boy from Kansas. I think his name is Art Hernandez or something like that. I will talk with him later to do it.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
you gotta get the variety of like locations and everything.
Exactly. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been busy.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we came back from quarantine in the office last month, and so we've just been trying to plan ahead with everything and PragerFORCE and strategizing and making sure we've got things planned for the rest of the year and next year. So, it's like it should be pretty cool.
Because how many weeks have you been without working?
Well, we were working from home, but we were gone from the office for 2 months.
For 2 months?
Yeah, working from home for 2 months. So it was pretty awesome to get back. But at least we were all working. That's why we were all very thankful about that, because no one lost their job. We were all able to just keep doing what we're doing.
That's great. That's great and very important too. Yeah. And how is everything in California? Is coming back everything to the normality, or?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah, it's like they start, lifting restrictions, and you can start going to the restaurant. You can start going to the gym.
Yes.
And now, like yesterday, our governor decided everyone has to wear face masks outside. And you're like, I'm like so confused.
You don't know what is going to happen from one day to another.
It's like, isn't that backwards? I'm like, we were opening up. Why are you going backwards again with this? Like, it's really ridiculous. So you just have to be prepared and have those things with you at all times. And, I'm kind of that person that I'm going to like not wear them unless I'm being forced to.
Yes. We, for example, here in Spain, our government told us that we have to wear it in all times. Like, I don't know when we are going to stop of wearing it, but we have been wearing it from 1 or 2 months ago. And it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable because now in Madrid in summer, it's so hot. The weather is so warm. It's like 40 degrees Celsius, and maybe it's like 100 Fahrenheit. And it's a lot of hot.
That's really that's crazy. But do you have like restaurants and everything open there?
Yes, we have been, like, the restaurants opened, I think, the past week or 2 weeks ago, and not every restaurant open because they have like a limit. Like, for example, they cannot open for the normal capacity of the restaurant. Maybe they have to limit
the people that are coming inside to 60% or something like that. So a lot of restaurants didn't open because they are losing money and they are not making enough money to be open. So that's sad. I hope that everything comes back to the normality. Did you know that yesterday I saw a notice, I think it was in the CNN about, what it was about? Oh yes, because of Columbus, because in the California Senate, or I don't know exactly the name, but they were trying to take away the Columbus and the Isabella Queen statue that is like in a rotunda inside.
Yeah, in the capital, in the state capital.
The capital, yeah. And it was like so frustrating. One of the Republicans leaders said that now we can choose which parts of the history we like and which ones we want to remember for a future.
Yeah,
that's something very
it's
sad.
Not even just that. It's like they're lying about the history. So it's one thing to even like pick and choose which things you want to highlight, but then they're lying about the things that they want to get rid of too. That's what's even worse about it. It's crazy. Yeah, it's interesting times, that's for sure. You know, and it's crazy because it's global. You know, normally in the past things were just like in regions of the world, and now it's like everybody's affected similarly in different ways, but still similarly. And so that's why, I mean, I guess it's even more important we're all connected globally, especially even like with PragerFORCE. It's been awesome because, you know, we can all still relate to a lot of these issues, even if it's very different in Europe compared to the US and laws, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, for example, about this, like you said, is something very, very global. Like, for example, here in Spain, like Columbus was departed from Spain. We have a lot of statues about him, and there are some cities, like for example Barcelona or more cities, that they were also trying to take away this statue. And like you said, with PragerFORCE, exactly, and it's something from Spain, and even inside Spain they are trying to delete the history. So it's something very sad. And as you said, with PragerFORCE, like you can talk with people worldwide and know what is happening around the world, and that's something great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something great.
Yeah.
So how did we met, Devon?
I mean, I think you must have just signed up, obviously, through. But did you get connected with someone to join?
No, I joined to PragerFORCE thanks to a PragerU video, and because of this, I went to the website or something like that, and there I saw that it was like a college program. But I didn't know if it was open for internationals or not. So I sent you a message because I had the website didn't work it for me very well or something like that. And then we started to talk. So I got inside of PragerFORCE, inside the PragerFORCE Facebook group, and it was awesome. It has been awesome.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's really good that you were proactive in trying to figure out, like, why is this not working, you know? Because someone could easily have just, like, moved on and not, and then you would have missed out on everything.
Somebody will say, never mind, don't worry, I will go with another thing. No, I try it. I try it.
Well, what was it that made you interested to really get involved with it? Was it just like that community and being a fan of PragerU, being more connected to PragerU? Was it kind of the combination?
Well, it was because I was a fan of of the PragerU videos, and because of this, I started to watch a lot more, and I wanted to be like more involved with the PragerU cause. Or I don't know if is a right? Yes, right. So I wanted to be more involved, and I discovered that it was, like I said before, like a college program, PragerFORCE. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe this is a good place for me, like to get inside and like to be more involved with the conservative movement. And it was then when I decided like to sign up for PragerFORCE. And later I saw that I was going to be able to know a lot of people inside from different parts of the world, like even to get rewards from PragerU, like PragerU merch, and that were the things that make me, I don't know, like to want to be even more involved with PragerU. Like I wanted to be involved, but when I discovered that it has also some perks, I said, okay, this is my time. I want to be. I want to be inside.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you feel the support and the rewards for what you do and getting involved and stuff, and that's the whole idea. It's like you kind of mix all of it together, you know? It's like you're in it for a good cause, and then you also get a lot of cool perks in the process.
Exactly, and even the perks, like for example, I don't know if you remember, but the past year you tried, or Devon McMahon tried to send me a backpack, the PragerFORCE backpack.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh.
And that was something very terrible because they wanted me to pay like 20 euros or something like that for a free backpack. And it was like, I'm not going to pay it. I'm not going to pay it. So since then, I stopped it. Since then, I stopped to request things because I knew that they were not going to arrive.
Yeah, we've had other incidents too. I mean, because depending on the country, either they're charging a lot or it just never gets to somebody because of like corruption or something, you know? Like, yes. I don't know. It's frustrating. I mean, we want to try to get stuff to you guys as much as possible, but I mean, my goodness, like, what is that? Like, you know, that is like is so much money for you to pick up something that's being sent to you. I don't understand. Like, what a system.
Exactly. It's like, imagine that you send something somewhere and somebody from the customs of that country said, oh, that backpack or that book is really interesting. I am going to keep it for me.
Yeah, exactly. But how do you deal with other orders from, I'm guessing, do you order from Amazon ever? Just other items online? How does that work?
I don't order a lot of things from Amazon, but luckily, there are a lot of things that are inside the European Union, and meanwhile, I am ordering things from inside the European Union. They are not going to charge me anything. But I think also that if you order some things from Amazon, they are not going to make you pay like a fee. Like, for example, like the one that, like the postal service tried to make me pay, because like you are using a private service or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. But for example, like the book that you sent me, it was sent from the US, and it comes from the US because I received the original box.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Amazon didn't make me pay like an extra fee for giving me something from outside the European Union. So I think that it depends of the time and which postal service or courier service are you using. But I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah,
that makes sense.
I guess like it would be worse if it is going through just like the U.S. Postal Service, because then you're dealing with like the government, and then they can tack on and do all the stuff and be terrible, you know, whereas Amazon can work out special deals with the government so that you guys don't get charged, or however that works, you know.
I think that is
I'm glad
the thing.
You did. You got the Rational Bible, and that who knows how much that would have cost you regularly.
Where do you have it? Here, I have it here. I need to start reading because, like, with all my classes from the university, I haven't had time for start to reading it. But I really want to start to reading it. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
and like
I mean, it's one of those things you could go slowly because it's like in chunks, you know, especially the way Dennis writes, it's like very easy to follow, but you want to make sure you digest each portion, you know, so. Yes,
it isn't going to be something that I am going to read in 5 or 4 days. I think that is going to take me a long time.
Yeah, that's okay, you know, because it makes it sticks in your head better, you know.
Exactly. I agree with that. I think, yes, it was in California, like in LA, in the PragerU headquarters. I expected you to appear in the Turning Point USA in the 10 Action Summer Summit or something like that, and it was like, finally, I am going to meet Devon Mirsky. But I didn't meet you. But I met Devon McMahon and also Isabel Brown. So that was also great. But I was like,
Yeah.
I want to meet also Devon.
Aw. I know, it was like one of the few times I haven't attended a big conference. But at least there were a couple of awesome people there for you to interact with, and we did have that other meetup we set up, but basically it was happening right after our main retreat. So we were doing our summer annual retreat, and literally like I think the next day or the next night the girls flew out to DC for it, and I was like, I can't. I'm like, I need a break.
You need a break. Yes. It's like you said, a lot of people that went to the Turning Point USA 10 Action Summit, to the TSES, were coming from the PragerFORCE retreats, and it was, I don't know, like Emily is saying right now.
Yeah, right. I think there were a few people, so they were kind of on this like really extended like traveling trip of conferences, and that's where you probably were hearing about the retreat and about everything, but it took a while for us to meet, but
yes,
it worked
but
out.
we finally meet, and even better, like instead of being in Washington DC, in Los Angeles, like it was my dream to go to Los Angeles, and that opportunity that you and PragerU give to me, like it was an amazing retreat. It was in January, I think.
Yeah.
It was great. I discovered a lot of new places, and it was very funny and very interesting. So thank you so much, Devon, and all the PragerU family for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, and it was just such a special experience, and very unique, and something that just kind of happened. And so it was, I always say it's like, if something's being presented to you, take advantage of it. And so it's like you and everyone that attended is the perfect example of like, of posting about, you have this opportunity to come out to Los Angeles, and this is all you have to do. It's like, make a video and talk about the things that matter to you. It's like, it didn't have to be anything fancy, but it's like just doing something small like that.
Yes,
And if you took the opportunity to do it, you most likely were going to get selected to come. So the people that didn't do it, it's like, guess what? They're missing out on that amazing opportunity. So, it just do those things that are coming your way, and it's probably going to be worth it in the end,
It was very worth it, and something that I really wanted to do, because I don't know if you remember, but in the regular PragerFORCE retreat, you selected me, for the one in Jan, you selected me to go, but because I was working in that time, I told you that I couldn't, so I have
right, the schedule wasn't working. Yeah,
exactly. And I was like, oh, I am going to miss it. I was so frustrated, and when you later give me that opportunity, I was like, I need to take it. I will do everything that I need, but I'm going to LA.
I'm so glad you did, because most of the time you can figure out a way of taking a break from classes or whatever excuse, there's usually a way of going about it and stuff. So,
but from Joe, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, no, it's really special just because coming out to LA, it's like you said, you can go to a conference and have the meetup, but when you come to Los Angeles and you're at the PragerU office and you're meeting all the staff and all of the people that run this stuff, it's that much more impactful, because it's like a totally different reality of like, here I'm socializing with my friends, but here I'm doing that and also understanding like the full picture of how this operates, and who does what job and how much they put into it. And so it's like a totally different experience, and getting the feel, because when you come to the office and you're in Los Angeles, like there's definitely a different vibe. It's like, okay, this is how we operate in LA at like a digital media company and stuff, compared to like even going to DC and dealing with politics there. You're dealing with a totally different kind of reality and intensity, and just you're focusing on different things and different types of personalities that work there. And so I think it's nice to really get that full impact when you come out here.
Yes, that's right. I learned a lot of things, like you say. It was very different from being, for example, in Washington DC, because like you say, you are going to learn different things. You're learning different things, but like going to LA, you have to I'm sorry. Thank you so much. You have the opportunity to learn a lot of things like digital marketing, like to create videos. Like, for example, I learned how to make like a good makeup for the, it isn't, the word it isn't makeup, but like, for example, the lights, where to place the lights and all of this stuff.
Nice, look
And
at you.
Yeah, it's like these kind of things. Like, if I haven't been inside LA, like if I haven't go to LA, I hadn't never learned it. So that was a very rewarding experience, and an experience from which I learned a lot, from digital marketing to creation of videos to a lot of things.
Yeah. It's nice to get a little taste of everything, because even if, you know, like when you get the graphic design workshop, you know, that one is like usually very specific. Like most people aren't necessarily going into that or have those skills, but you still learn a lot, and it's still interesting to get a taste of it and to hear like what that reality is like and how he works and everything, just certain little tips. So, you know, it's structured in a way that anyone can tune in, but for someone that wants to do graphic design, it might be even that much more impactful. But I think it's important to get a full picture of everything, you know, not just separate yourself based on interests or skills.
That's right. That's right. I agree with you. I was going to ask you, do you really live in LA, or do you live in another town outside LA?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles County. So yeah, the LA mayor that you hear about, Garcetti, like he's the one that's the election I vote in and everything. But I'm not in like the city, so I'm not in like a downtown LA or anything like that. So I'm in like what we call suburbs, you know, where it's just nice neighborhoods.
Yes.
But Los Angeles is huge, so you can be even pretty, you know, far from the center of town and still technically be a part of Los Angeles. So, and I grew up here, so born and raised. And you know, and that was also the cool thing about PragerU. It was like, oh wow, you're like in my part of like California, like you know.
I am going to work inside my city. I won't need to change of a state.
Yeah, I didn't even have to move, like, because, you know, again, LA's so big, you might have to go from one side to the other to be convenient. But nope, it was just like perfect location, just worked out amazingly.
You say that you live in the suburbs. What is your opinion about, like, for example, like, if I am in Madrid, no, better say, like, when I was in LA, before taking my flight to Spain, like, to coming back, I was in Hollywood, and from Hollywood to the airport, to the LAX, it took me, like, 50 minutes to arrive. Like, you know, 50 minutes. Like, you say that LA is huge. It's huge, and it's huge. It took me like 50 minutes. 50 minutes is what took me to go, like, from Madrid, from the city of Madrid to the border of the Madrid region, and to change. So, like, to spend 50 minutes inside a city going to some point to another, it was something like, oh my goodness, this city is huge.
Yeah, and that's not even like the farthest end to the other. You know, you were just going from like one section. And then, you know, on top of that, you have the distance, but then you have the traffic, so then it like doubles the time it takes to get anywhere. So even on like a good day, you might get somewhere in like 20 minutes, but then other times it'll take an hour, you know.
I think that it was a very bad day with a lot of traffic. It was around maybe 3 or 4 p.m. So
yeah,
it wasn't a very good hour. I needed to take my flight maybe at 5 or 6. So I was like telling to the driver, go fast, please, go fast. Don't use the highways. Use the streets. Go to the street. I was like, please, I need to ride.
At least you made it.
Yeah, I made it. And what is your opinion, like, about LA? Which is the best part of LA? Like, which things you like about living in LA? Like, I'm not talking about the suburbs. Well, yes, about the suburbs also. What is, like, the best part of living in LA, and which is the worst part?
So, I mean, it's honestly, it's very easy to find a lot of good reasons about being in Los Angeles. And so what I always like to talk about is like the variety, you know, and that includes, you know, of activities, of things to do, of types of food, cultural experiences, you know, museums, concerts, movies, like whatever it is. And then on top of it, you also have different like geographical environments. You've got the beach, you've got the mountains, you've got the desert that's not too far, farmland that's right nearby as well. So pretty much any environment you can think of, you can get to it. And especially when you're even kind of like in the winter months, it's like you have snow and you need a jacket and everything, and then you go down below and you'll be hot, you know, and can go swimming. So there's a lot of opportunity that within an hour you can pretty much hit any of those things. You can be at the beach or the mountains or the desert, any of those things. So it's really nice to have that variety of just whatever you're in the mood for. And, you know, even in summer, which normally everywhere is just hot. But here, you might be in one area like where I am in the valley, what we say, and it's like 100 degrees. But then you go to the beach, it's like, could be 30 degrees cooler. And it's very pleasant. You might even need a light jacket and it cools off at night. So that's very unusual. A lot of times summer really is like, it's hot at night. It's hot everywhere you go. You don't have much variation in the temperature. So those are like the most amazing things to me, is just that variety and, you know, kind of just something for everybody. And then with that, the contrast obviously is really, the worst part is the traffic, because sometimes things that are close by still might not be convenient enough for you to get to. So it's like a big hassle to do something that's not technically even that far. And then also like the politics. And because of that, it's causing a lot of things to be run down. It's like the roads are actually pretty terrible. Like the amount of potholes you have on the freeways and the roads is ridiculous. You know, and then the homelessness thing right now, which didn't always used to be as bad as it is. But that's just like skyrocketed pretty recently. And again, it's all related to the politics of the city. You know, these things could be controlled and they used to be, but when you have the wrong people in office, like you're just, everything else kind of follows and crumbles and the safety level goes down. So that quality of life that, you know, we love about LA is going down constantly because of the politics and because of the increased, you know, migration and population here too. You know, they're always finding ways of like squeezing as many people as they can into different areas. It's like, if you go into Hollywood and downtown LA, there's like construction everywhere. And it's like, they're not even providing like places for people to park their cars. And we're such a car state and city. And to create environments where people aren't really conveniently able to have cars is crazy, because there aren't good alternatives. So they're basically creating these like, these cities that aren't actually prepared for the influx of people. So you're like, well, crap, it's like, it's bad already. Imagine what this is going to be like when all these buildings are going up and they keep doing it. So it's just like crazy things like that. But, you know, but besides that, but, you know, there's still a lot of fun things to do and cool people around.
And it's like Cameron is a friend of mine. He lives in Texas. At least it isn't as hot as in Texas, because in Texas it's like very hot, right?
I am not a fan of Texas weather. Like, no. I do not like humid weather. We do not have humid weather here. Even at the beach, it's not that humid compared to like humid areas like Texas. Like, you know, it's like crazy. Very lucky. Very lucky.
It's like you say, like, for example, like living in California, like you in Los Angeles, it's in the southern part of California. You're very lucky because you have a lot of environments. You have the mountains. The mountains are next to the city. I am remember right?
Yeah, right. It's not that far, yeah.
You have also the desert, like you said, is a Mojave Desert? The name of the desert?
Yeah, it's a little bit further out, yeah. But yeah, I mean, even the first part of the desert, which some of it is still even technically Los Angeles County, actually. Yeah, it's like pretty close.
Yeah, it's like you say, you have a lot of options. Like if you want to live in somewhere colder, that's great. If you want to live like in somewhere warmer, it's also okay. So that's great. And about California, what do you like about California? Which is the good thing about living in California, and which is the best, the worst part of living in California, and which are your favorite cities of California?
Well, you know, I am biased. I think I still am like an LA girl. A lot of people think I'm crazy for that, but again, I think it's just that the accessibility to everything compared to, so I mean, in contrast, like San Diego, right? It's like, it's really beautiful and like perfect weather all the time, and so it's like no one hates San Diego, let's just put it that way. But there's still like more to do in LA. There's more of, if you're interested in music and movies, you know, you're really going to get that really stacked in LA. So if you really care about those things, you really need to be in LA, or people come up to LA to do those things. So again, like for me, it's just kind of self-contained, and I take like some of the negatives over that so I can have that variety. So that's how I look at it. And just the beauty of California. Like if anyone has ever done the drive up the coast of California, it's some of the world's most spectacular views. And just like the cliffs with the mountains and the ocean and the rock formations, it's absolutely incredible. And that's like something that I think most people should try to do in their lifetime, to see that, because you can't really find that very many places around the world. And then on top of it, you know, even just some of the national parks like Yosemite is absolutely incredible.
It's incredible,
have, like,
right?
Sequoias and redwoods. We have the largest trees in the world. And it's an amazing experience because some of these trees are actually over 2,000 years old. So you think about that and you're like, wow, this tree was around like when Jesus was here. like, that's like a weird thought, but it's like, it's true, and it's there. And you know, so like nature lovers, again, so I was talking about like music, culture, and movies, all that, but just nature lovers, it's like, you know, we've got the best stuff as well. Honestly, the way I describe it is anything you can think of, like pretty much around the country and even around the world, you can find in California. And that was one of the things the movie industry really utilized, because they would pretend they're in all places of the world, but they would find little pockets where it's like, well, this looks like an area of Spain, so they would say it's Spain, you know, or this looks like it could be Africa, so they play it as if it's Africa, but it's all just in California, so you don't have to do those travel expenses, especially back in the day when things weren't as safe and set up and logistics, you didn't have the technology. You know, you could do that in California, totally. You could still get away with it. You wouldn't know the difference, you know, oftentimes. So I'll travel a lot and I'll be like, whoa, that looks like, you know, someplace back home, you know, and everything. So it's kind of interesting how that goes. And then again, you know, it's like you're basically, for me, the only negatives are really only because of the politicians that are kind of destroying that quality of life. You know, so you want the freedom to drive around. We're such a car culture. You want to visit these beautiful places. Well, then they jack up the gas prices, so then it costs so much to drive anywhere. You know, it costs more in California for gasoline than anywhere else in the country. So they try to discourage you from driving and doing those things. And, you know, I think we still kind of do it anyways, but at some point, I think their goal is to like lessen that, which is really sad. You know? Yeah,
because it is going to stop to like the tourism inside California. Like you are saying, California is a very lucky, I don't know how to say it, but a very lucky place inside the world. Because like in one state, you can find so many things. Like we were talking about before, you have mountains, you have deserts, you have 2,000 years trees. Like it's fantastic. This is one of the things, because I love California. Like I love California because of this, like because all of the nature, because all of the variety. And that's something sad that the politicians aren't doing. They are not working very good. Like you say, they are like, I don't know how to say, like you say, the gas is something that is going to stop a lot the tourism inside California, because there isn't like a public transport to move from one place to another. The people depend a lot for the cars. So I don't know, it's something like they are not thinking very well.
Yeah, like traveling, you know, how it was either going to take a really long time to get anywhere if you try, or it's going to cost you a lot using Uber, you know, and that's not really convenient for a tourist, you know.
That's right. Like, for example, here in Madrid, if you in any time you come to Madrid, like you have the subway, the metro, and there is trains coming like from maybe between one and another one. It's a time of 5 minutes maybe from one to another one. And like in LA, you needed to wait maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It was a lot of time. Also, like the public transport there in California and like in the US, you have to, it isn't as developed as, for example, in Spain or in Europe. So you need a private transport. And if you are not providing the people with a good quality of public transport, you're not going like, you cannot make so higher the price of the gas. So that's something very sad.
One thing that people actually don't usually know is that Los Angeles used to have one of the world's best public transportation systems back back in the day, and they actually got rid of it like in the 50s and I think even early 60s. And that was, you know, because my dad actually grew up out here too, and you know, they would talk about that. It's like anywhere you needed to go, it was called the red car, and it was like this trolley that would take you anywhere in the city and all over the place. So it was a really amazing thing. And then again, it was like politics even back then that actually got rid of it. And you'll see it's like every time they try to do something with public transportation here, it's like super stupid. It's like they only are focusing on like low-income communities to try to get them out of there and put them in like nicer communities, but then it doesn't really like take you anywhere convenient. So there's very few places like you know, sometimes I'll take our subway, which is pretty gross, I have to say. It's really janky. It's like dangerous and gross and smelly, and but I've still done it because it's like cheap, but you know, and convenient because it'll take me to like a couple spots like in Hollywood or downtown LA. But even then, it doesn't take you to most places in downtown LA you would want to go. Still have to go on an extensive walk, which is not exactly safe. Downtown LA is not safe at all. So it's like, what were they thinking? It's like you put in all this time and effort to even make some of the public transportation that we all really want, and then it doesn't even take you anywhere important. Like, what is it?
It's like you said, in the public transportation, it was even dangerous. Like for example, in Spain, we have the marijuana and all these things are, let's say, forbidden. And I was inside the subway, and somebody was like seated next to me, and he had a ball of marijuana, a marijuana ball, and he started to make like a cigarette or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? What is he doing? Please don't touch me. The next day, because I don't know, I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, I was coming back to Spain, and I was like, please don't touch me. I don't want to have the drugs check inside the airport. I was so afraid, and yes, like for me, it was very dangerous because it was something that I wasn't used to. But yes, I agree with you, it's very dangerous. But like for example, downtown, if you take away like all the bad things, it's very nice. Like for example, I went to the cathedral, to the Los Angeles Cathedral, and it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Also, I went to the Walt Disney Music Hall, and also it was like being inside a movie or inside a series. It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Architecture with that. Sure.
And also in LA, there are a few parks, right? Like the Disneyland.
Yeah.
Disneyland, which more? The Universal Studios, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got that. We've got Universal. We've got a couple of others. So there's a chain of like Six Flags. So we've got Flags Magic Mountain.
Six Flags.
Posters. And we even have one called Knott's Berry Farm, which has got like an old ghost town type of feel and started there. So we've got a interesting ones. But you know, I always like to point out that we have the original Disneyland. And our Universal is really special because we're actually tied to the actual studio. You know, you can go and see the sets, and sometimes they might be filming. You have to stop they have to go around it, you know, on the tour. So the tour isn't regular, how it might be. So when you go to, you know, Florida, it's like, you know, recreation, you know, it's bigger. They've got more stuff.
So recreation, it's like you said in... Yeah, it's in Los Angeles, the original park of Disney, of Walt Disney, the Disneyland. I saw that, I think, in the Imagineers series inside Disney Plus or something like that, and they were explaining that in LA it was the first and original Disneyland. Later it came the Disney World of Orlando, but it was in LA the first one and the original one.
Yeah,
and
it's special.
Like, if you need to choose between San Diego and, for example, San Francisco, which one would you choose? Like, which is your favorite one?
Well, you know, honestly, at this point, I would just straight up say San Diego overall, for a number of reasons. I would say the weather is better actually than San Francisco. Even the politics is better there. It's safer, nice, more family oriented, I guess, environment. So I say San Diego kind of ranks higher in that sense. San Francisco is like a really cool place to visit. San Francisco, again, is also like one of the most beautiful cities on the planet. And again, it's just the politics that kind of get really disgusting and unsafe to travel to. Really beautiful, but the weather up there isn't as good as Southern California. So that's the thing that people don't always realize, like, in that there's always a rivalry of like Northern California versus Southern California. And but they always have like foggy weather and it's chilly, so that's kind of how it's known more so, which is nice. I personally like cool weather, but it's not as good, you know, for like the beach all the time or other types of stuff. Like
it's more colder than in the south of California, in Southern California. So then, which one will you choose, San Diego or San Francisco? San Francisco, which one?
I guess San Diego overall.
San Diego, right? Also, if you are in San Diego, you can spend a day in Mexico, right? Which is a city.
Yeah, I've actually walked across the border when I was younger.
Really? How was the experience?
It was weird. It was like these spinning style things, you know, and you walk through and get in Mexico, you have like these like scary like federale guys with like guns, big guns, and they're just like,
oh,
it's like you can tell you changed countries pretty quickly.
I saw it.
I'm not as inclined to do that as much now. It's like even more dangerous, but I don't know. I would be down.
Yeah, that's will be interesting. I want to do it sometime. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, come back out. Maybe we'll know.
And like I was going to ask you now. Oh yes, about the food. Like, which is you have in California or in Southern California, like in LA, San Diego, some typical food. Like, for example, yes, right?
Yeah. Well, so you know, obviously not just because of the Mexican population, but there's kind of unique fusion, you could say, or like its own thing called Cal-Mex. So it's California Mexican food. So it's that's why it's different. The Mexican food's different in Texas. They call it Tex-Mex. We have Cal-Mex. It's different from even the different regions of Mexico, obviously. You know, I think I mean, some people are just tied to their state, but I think Cal-Mex kind of beats everybody. But, you know, so there's just like, it's just like good solid food, or you just even get like street tacos or something, just like, just any of that, that you're looking for, it kind of just always hits home. Like, you know, it's like you can never go wrong. It's just always good stuff you can get.
Yeah. I had a friend a few months ago that told me that LA is like the best place in the world because you have all the restaurants of all the all the international food is inside LA. It is such a great variety inside LA that you need one day, for example, can eat something from Mexico, another one from Guatemala, the next one from Peru, the next one from China. Like, you have like all the different cuisines you have there in LA. So you're very lucky. You're very lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. I always appreciate that. And so, you know, and I love trying different foods from around the world. So like I'm adventurous in that sense. So it's nice again to have those options. Because there was one time I had like dinner at a friend's house and we were talking about like Yemen. the country of Yemen in the Middle East. And there's a Yemenite restaurant in Los Angeles. It's so random. It's so weird. And we got food from there, and it was really cool. But it's like, you know, even if you find like one or two places, like they're around. Or like, it was funny because, you know, Jose that came to the international retreat?
Yes.
Right? So he's from Colombia. And he did the takeover for our Instagram, the PragerFORCE Instagram. And he mentioned, someone asked him a question about like Lola juice or something like that. And I was here with, you know, Spencer, and we were looking at each other like, what is that? So we started looking on the computer, and then we were like, oh my god, we gotta like find this. And so we looked up, we're like, are there Colombian restaurants? It's like, sure enough, there's one like right up the street. Just like
Oh my goodness.
like anything, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So like, throw out your random cuisines and we'll see if we can find it in LA. That's like, it should be like a game we play, right? It's just like, what's the most random thing in your country that you can think of, and see if we can get it.
And it will be like the most random thing will be there in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Is there
But
like anything from Spain that maybe that you think is very unique to your country that you don't generally find elsewhere?
Like, for example, the tortilla. Like, for example, the tortilla, the Spanish omelette is very typical from here. Also the paella, I think you call it in English. The sangria, that is like wine with soda, is from Spain. The wine and the olive oil, like, they come from all over the world, but the better ones come from Spain. And like, for example, if you find Italian or French olive oil, a lot of this oil, maybe like in the which is the name, like in the name, maybe it's Italian. It will say you that it comes from Italy or from France, from Italy or France. But the producers from Italy and from France buy to Spain, like a lot of olive oil to later sell it as Italian or as French. So that's funny. And like, for example, that things come from Spain, and paella, tortilla, a lot of things. We have a lot of things. I can tell you right now. We have also another thing that is called croqueta. I can send you later a photo, but because I don't know how to explain you. It's made with meat, and it's so tasty. It's something very typical from the grandmas, from the abuelas. Like, it's something that your abuela will have done for you and will give you when you go to her house.
You don't generally get it at a store, at a restaurant. You get it from it's like homemade.
Exactly, it's very homemade. Like, you can also order that from restaurants, but it isn't going to be as good as the one from your house, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's better. It's always better from home. But we have a lot of cuisines. And for example, I don't know if you know José Andrés. It's a very famous Spanish chef. He lives in Washington D.C. and he has restaurants all over the United States. And he's like, for example, in New York, he built the past year a flea market that is called Mercado Little Spain, like Little Spain Market, and you have there like all the cuisines from Spain. If you come in any time to Spain, you're going to love our cuisines. It's so tasty, and yes,
I definitely want to visit sometime. That would be awesome. Did you I know you didn't get to do too much in LA, but was there anything that you did that might have that was your favorite thing? I don't know, any touristy stuff you might have done.
I wanted to go to Santa Monica. Santa Monica because it's such a famous place, but I didn't have time because we went to Hollywood and I was with my baggage. It was the day that I was leaving, so that is maybe the only thing that I regret, like to haven't gone to Santa Monica. No, Santa Monica or to the pier. It's a pier in Los Angeles. It's Santa Monica, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to go, but because of the time, I didn't have time, and that's maybe the only thing that I regret. But it is because I didn't have time. But I will love to.
Yeah.
The next time that I will go to LA, I will visit. Also, shooting range.
Definitely.
Shooting range. Because I saw some videos from Gabriel, and I don't know who more went there with. I don't know. Well, they went to a shooting range, and they seem so happy.
Yeah.
They seem so happy.
Like, Megan that works here at PragerU.
Megan,
Gabriel, and I think Emily.
Exactly.
Yes,
Emily, Gabriel, Ethan, maybe. I'm not sure. I think these two with Megan, cool. They went, and I was like, oh, I was so jealous. I was very jealous.
You have a plan for next time you're out now.
That's for sure. I will go to a shooting range, 100% sure. And like cool. Continuing with the food, you don't have like a typical thing from California. Like you will say that the Colmex food is a typical thing from California, but you have like, I don't know, like something. I don't know how to tell you, like something from California, not from all around the world, like a typical cuisine.
Well, something that I'm thinking of right now that's become pretty popular is avocado toast. So, we have like one of the most perfect environments out here, in Southern California to grow avocados. And so that's been a part of the diet out here for forever. And so people eating avocado sandwiches and eating it on toast and adding it to everything was pretty normal. And now it's become like pretty popular in other places, but that I would say that I'm pretty, that seems to have really originated here where that was kind of the norm, even back in the day. 'Cause my mom grew up in New York and she came out to LA when she got together with my dad, and she was like, an avocado sandwich, like this is crazy, I've never seen this, like, but now again with the technology and transportation, they're able to get fresh produce all over the country now, whereas like she couldn't get that in New York before. So people are able to kind of take advantage of that. So, things like that. And then even, and whatever, people make fun of this too, but just of that sort of vegetarian and vegan and raw foods, like all of that is very California. Everyone else
that is very Californian. Like, for example, the veganism and all of this stuff is, it is from California. When you hear it, you think, they are from California. I mean, no, they are not from California, but this is something from California. A lot of these things are created there.
Way, being creative even on how you can do a lot of these cuisines without, without tasting like just grass or dirt. It's actually amazing kind of what you can do with this stuff, whether in favor of it or not. They've made a lot of amazing waves in that, but there are even like weird things that you associate with other so again, like we talked about, kind of you can find food from all around the world, and that's why a lot of things, like whether it's the Calmex or even like the fortune cookie, that actually is not Chinese, it comes from California.
But isn't Chinese.
And then even certain things that you think are out of Japan, they developed like in California, because like even the whole sushi roll thing, like they do it some in Japan, but they were more they would handle that stuff very differently. And but there was something else I can't remember now off the top of my head, but there's some like very iconic things that you think of as Japanese that actually came out of California from a Japanese immigrant who developed foods out here. So that's very common, is you'll find immigrants coming to the U.S. and creating something unique that's like a fusion that's more palatable for like the American taste buds. And again, some of the stuff goes back a while, but so there's interesting stuff like that too.
Well, that's so interesting. I didn't know that about the sushi. I really thought that it was from China or from Japan. I don't know, but I really thought that it was from there. So I am very shocked. So I was going to ask you also, if for example you have 7 days in California, imagine you arrive at LAX, which are the places that you recommend, like to the people, which are the places that you will recommend to the people like to visit? Like inside LA and outside LA, like maybe moving for 1 or 2 days to San Diego, or I don't know, like tell me, or 7 days or 15 days, which will be the places that you will recommend?
You could spend a lot of time here, but let's even keep it on the shorter time frame and trying to squeeze in as much as possible. I think you could get in like a really good amount of stuff and a taste for a lot of things, even a couple days in LA. So making sure you're going to Santa Monica and looking at the coast in Malibu, and then making sure you go through Hollywood and see Beverly Hills, downtown LA a little bit with some of those spots, at the observatory. There are definitely like certain main spots you should see that are, maybe very touristy, but they're very iconic, and they're major iconic places for a reason, so you should try and do that. If you, depending on how much you're willing to spend or how much time you have, like being able to go on like a studio tour. So even if you don't go to Universal, the park, you can still do studio tours, even of like Paramount or Warner Brothers. That's really a really special, unique opportunity to be able to do something like that. And then I always, of course, recommend Disneyland, just because I love Disney in general, and I think it's a really special place. So people that care about that, I would say, take a day and go to Disneyland. Not to knock on like San Diego or anything, but I think if you're trying to fit in a lot for California, I probably would go further north instead. So you would go to LA, spend a few days around, and then kind of go up north to drive up the coast, or maybe either go to Yosemite and then up to San Francisco and spending a couple days up there, because you definitely need the variety of like seeing the nature and the beauty that California has, and also the contrast of like the other major city of San Francisco, because it is really beautiful with the Golden Gate Bridge and how everything is structured there on this like massive hill, and so the streets are crazy, and you've got the trolleys, and it's like you're walking uphill at like this 90-degree angle up the street. It's like crazy. So I think you really should kind of do it that way. It's like a hub in LA for a bit, go up into nature around Yosemite or something, and then go and spend another few days around San Francisco. And because even near San Francisco, you can see some redwoods. There's some great hiking spots that are not too far from the city that you can get some of those big trees. Not the biggest ones we were talking about, but still ones that are going to be like really impressive and iconic, again, to only California. And I think that would give you a really good feel of the state in general,
There is also a road, an historical road that go like I don't remember right now the name of the road, but like that in California there are a lot of missions, like in all the coastline, like for example the San Buenaventura mission, the San Francisco mission, and all of these missions that come from a Spanish missionary. There is a road, right?
Yeah. So it's like California Highway 1. And so you can pretty much like follow, up and down the whole state, and it will take you to all the different missions and stuff. Those are really cool, and they're all different too. So yeah, if you're interested in like history, those are very unique and definitely something cool to check out. Like the one like even in Santa Barbara is really pretty. There's one actually here in Los Angeles in the Valley, not too far from where I live, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, they're all different. We actually had to do projects when I was like 9 years old in school. We had to study all the Spanish missions and build them. Each of us got an assignment and had to build them and stuff.
That's so lovely. And of course, if you have time, you need to go to the outlets, to the American outlets. They are so typical.
I'm not huge on that, but
thank you so much, Devon.
I'm more for like the experiences for sure, because if it's a chain like store, it's like you can get that anywhere online. So I'd rather get the experiences of, like you were saying, it's like go to the missions or go to some of these other spots. It's like, you can get touristy crap like shirts.
Oh, Devon, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this interview. It is saying to me that we need to finish. Like, we have just 1 hour, so thank you so much for sharing all of these things. I didn't knew a lot of these things that you have told us about California, about LA. So again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on, and it's always really awesome to talk to you, and I hope we see each other in the near future. I hope it's not another 2 years or something,
Thank you so much. Hopefully I will be in LA soon, and I will let you know.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Devon. Bye.
Si te ha gustado este episodio y seguramente muchos más de la serie, no te olvides de suscribirte a mi canal, Ven tu Antequera. También dale un like al episodio y si quieres estar siempre pendiente de cuando subo un nuevo episodio, un nuevo vídeo o incluso una nueva serie, no te olvides de activar la campanita que tienes aquí debajo. Muchísimas gracias.